go. Hello, Fantastic, and hello,
Hello.
Nosaku.
Can you hear me?
Nosaku, yes? Did you see this about Waltz and the 84-page fraud report?
No, but I can probably guess.
Oh my god. Okay, are you surprised? So this is what it says. The summary of it is that Waltz created a culture of compliance that allowed people to steal money from the government, from the state government, because he was trying to be more compassionate rather than actually making sure and checking where the money went to.
Sounds about right.
I know Waltz is just such a retard. Like I made a comment on this.
Well,
Like
I mean, the whole
in my
government has
Twitter.
to be investigated now.
Right.
Of course it
Minnesota
does.
is a fucking
And they're
mess,
not.
and the
And they're
fact
not.
that nobody's really addressing this or paying attention to it,
Well, see,
Of course they're not.
depressing.
Go ahead.
well, it's just one, you have to follow the money, and
Of course.
like I said, who did the money go to, which is a known demographic of his political party. So you have to think, who benefits from this fraud? Obviously, he does in his party. So, of course, and then of course he's going to want to try to hide it.
Of course he is. Of
And-
course he is.
And I think there's probably fraud on the other side. It's just that when you have so much control over a government like that, and it's all on the same side, once that spotlight is shown on it, all the cockroaches scatter.
Of course they do. I mean, come on. Of course they would. Because why wouldn't they, right? Why
Mhm.
wouldn't they? And the thing is, like, I used to work for the government, so the entire culture that generally they have is we're just gonna be the good guys. We're not going to incite any type of level of we don't want to make the unions mad at us, even though they are our enemy, because they are. If you are a company, unions are bad for business. Let's just frame it that way. Like they do bring some good things to the table. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
They make things cheaper because you have to just go through arbitration instead of having to deal with a lawsuit. But they're a nuisance. They're an absolute nuisance. And
No code.
and generally, as a whole, Waltz was more invested in making the unions happy than he was on protecting taxpayer dollars.
Well,
And this is stuff you can read like on the paper. This is all public knowledge. I'm not really saying anything that should not be said.
That pitiful seed.
So I mean, I can't speak to a lot of Minneapolis St. Paul politics, because when I lived in Minnesota for a few years, I was more south of the state, and a lot of the people I worked with were a little bit more of a rural type communities, and they tended to be, I mean, more conservative. You had your liberals, and you had things like that, but it didn't seem like the lack of common sense was there.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't understand the mentality of a large city and allowing things like this, because with all the information provided, I think most people are just like, hey, no, that's not right.
Well, a lot of it also stems from the fact that the people in the government programs, these charities and whatnot, their jobs relied on people needing and using the government programs. So they erred on the side of approve this, because if we approve this, we show that we have a high budget and we are an important piece of the government. So they need to keep funding us. So they need to keep giving us money. So we still have a job. Just like no government agency has ever said, all right, we have solved the problem we were created for and we can dissolve now.
No, that defeats the purpose. But see, I'm
Always,
actually
no, we need a bigger budget. There's more problems now that we
The
need
problem
to
is
solve.
bigger now that we've studied the problem.
I'm a little bit more interested to
Which is
see
in
the
and of itself a
apportionment
scam.
of federal funds versus state funds. And where how that balances out from the tax dollars, because if there's a need, a lot of times that stuff is federally subsidized and not from the state.
Some of it is.
Some of it, I guess
some of it is.
I'm just not
And the thing
familiar
is-
with the state the state budget politics and how that all works out, because I haven't looked into it that deeply, just to know how much of that is actually state taxpayer dollars versus federal. Because if it's federal tax dollars, now we've got a larger problem with
It's both.
It's generally not all federal money. Some of it is, but not all of it. When you look at the appropriations, generally the budget goes. I'm trying to figure out how much I can say. Generally, the budget goes through one particular agency, and that agency disperses it to every other single agency, and the individual agencies, as you see in the bills, then get money from the federal government. So look at, for example, the Department of Transportation. They got some money for some federal projects, but they got some other money from the state. And the money they usually get from the federal government is earmarked. And I'm trying to kind of like toe the line in terms of what I can say and what I can't say, because some of that information is private data
Sure.
that I can't share. So,
Yeah.
but
And that in and of itself is a problem, because there should be no such thing as private government data. They work for the voters. The voters should have access to all of the financial records of the government without fail, without exception.
I can see
You
certain.
would
I can see
think
certain.
that.
I can see certain exceptions in certain cases, like military funding, research, and things like that, where we don't want adversaries to know, hey, what we're working on.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not asking for a detailed breakdown of what they're researching, but I want to know how much they're spending on the research.
yeah,
True.
that is accurate. Like I know that
But I'm also heavily have heavy anarcho-capitalist leanings, so I believe that the solution to all this fraud is take all of the taxing revenue or tax rates, turning them all to zero, and if there's no money going into the government, there's no money to be misappropriated.
That's very fair. And I think, like I said, one of the things, in as far as like the federal budgets and stuff like that is, you'll hear audit the Federal Reserve and things like that. No, I'm not someone who wants to say, abolish the Federal Reserve, because I don't understand it all that much. But I do think they need to be held accountable if they're the ones handling our money, and we need to, they need to have full transparency to, one, the government, and two, to the people, so we actually know what they're doing. That's, I think, the problem is we don't have we don't have any information from them.
yeah.
So
And I think some of that information is just. I would say this: according to statute, there is some information that will always be considered private data. And that is by statute. So if you want to change it, and I did just change, of course, the thumbnail of. Because I can't figure out exactly what to do with this fucking stream, but I changed it to a just chatting stream.
like I said, no one knows what's going on with this stream. You're in great company.
Yeah.
Well, the game
So
seems to be
they-
working again.
Oh,
Of course,
but-
now it is.
No, now
Well,
we're
I never
just
wanted to
chilling.
switch
Now,
to just chatting.
sorry. So the entire thing really is just the fact that, if you want to hop off, that's okay, Misako, by the way. The entire thing is that by statute, certain things are always considered to be private data. So let me give you some examples. So information about employees is considered to be private data. So if, say, Fantastic was an employee, his personnel file would be private data. Any issues related to him would be private data. If you look at the ins and outs of negotiating and bargaining and arguing and preparing for a court trial, things like that, generally is attorney-client privilege. That is also technically considered to be private data, right? Some of the other conversations might be private data because they're considered to be the inner workings of like how you think about two things, right? So that's considered to be private data. Not everything is private data though. So, but just generally, I think that the government spends so much time trying to classify everything as private data, so it doesn't get out. That when it does, it becomes then very crucial of the fact that like we're looking at them behaving really badly,
Yes.
like they did with this situation.
So,
And Waltz is known for being a pushover.
So, on a slightly related note, isn't there also? I thought I saw a news story about. Isn't there some like Medicare or health or some sort of scandal in California right now about federal funds being misappropriated, all right,
Yes.
along at the same time.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
Medicare?
That sounds about
I
right,
don't
yeah.
know if it is. I
Or-
don't know if it is Medicare per se, but I do know it did happen.
There's something
Um,
medically related, and I know, like, obviously medical information is extremely confidential, even in the workplace and things like that. So it would make sense that, you know, even in that type of situation for fraud, they're hiding behind, you know, confidentiality, because, like, in Minnesota,
Hi, kitty.
in like this in this type of situation with the daycares and stuff like that, isn't also child information, isn't that also considered to be protective because they're minors?
Yeah.
Well, let me look at the statute. We can look at the statute right now. Hold on. Let me pull up the statute
Only
here.
we knew a lawyer that can look at this stuff.
I know.
From a better vantage.
And
You
might
know,
I
I've
also
looked at
request
this
a
statute
good
before.
lawyer?
Oh my god. I've looked at this statute so many times because it did get changed as well. So this is the Minnesota statute, right?
Okay.
It's Minnesota Statute 13.03, access to government data. And this really governs what you can request from the government. So public data is considered to be all government data collected, created, received, maintained, or oh my fucking god, you fucking cat, I need to like trim your nails. Holy fucking shit. I grabbed him and his nails came out and scratched
This
my
cat's got
thighs.
claws.
You got clues. Maintained or disseminated by a government entity. Okay, so it's very vague right now. It's a government entity. Shall be public.
Dude.
So oh fucking hell shit.
All day turning out
That fucking
Scratches
hurt.
the hell out of me.
Oh my god, that fucking hurt. And I got, oh my god, he drew blood. No, now my leg is bleeding. Okay. Anyway, government entities. So basically, all government. So the umbrella is everything is private. No, sorry. Everything shall be public except for it is classified by statute or temporary classification pursuant to section 1303 or by federal law, or is considered to be non-public or protected non-public, or is data with respect to individuals that is private or confidential. Okay. So everything is private except for data that is classified by statute, that is classified by federal law, that is considered to be non-public or protected non-public, or data that is about a person that is considered to be private or confidential. Oh, bully dog, your cat, this is your cat did too, or your dog did it too. Like I'm bleeding, my leg is bleeding right now. Thank you, cat. Thank you. Verified Knight says unions used to be great and now they became the high on their own parts. Yes, that's accurate.
Agreed. And it's corruption of power. You get a little bit of power, and then, you know, they
Unions
use
in the
that-
private sector were fine. Unions in the private sector still are better than others, but there never should have been, because the whole point of a union is collective bargaining, and you cannot collectively bargain against the people. If you
Yeah.
were getting your paycheck, if you were a police officer, a teachers union, if you are a public sector worker, you cannot unionize, you cannot collective bargain against the collective, which is the government you work for.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
public sector unions are what ruined unionization.
All right, so this is from the Minnesota State Health Department. It talks about public data, private data, confidential data. Non-public data is data that is generally not available to individuals. That basically means it's a lot. That basically means not. Protected non-public data. Protected non-public data is data not on individuals, which is both not public and not accessible. If you think about this, how much data is not accessible to you? A lot of data is usually not accessible to you. Highlander became a member for 1 month. Taxation is theft. Government is only looking out for themselves, and the beach is the only cure for depression, and me and cats. You're bleeding. I was joking, but you actually might have a curse stream. Are you streaming from a Native American graveyard? No, I'm not. It's okay. He scratched me badly. I would show you guys, but I don't think I want to show my thigh in camera for its stream. For some reason. Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's bleeding, but it's not bleeding a lot. So this is really a lot of information that then becomes private
Wait,
data.
you don't have a dedicated thigh cam?
Apparently not. Apparently not. So a lot of this information is gonna be private, right? The investigations are private. Generally, investigations are always private. So any investigation they do on this is private, and what they choose to release at that point, you know, is whatever becomes public. But they can withhold a lot of information because it's considered to be an investigation, right? And the investigation doesn't become public.
Yeah.
And they will
But
fight to the
basically,
nail.
what the statute says is everything is public, except stuff we don't want to be public. That's private.
For things that we don't want
That's true.
actually anybody to see.
Everything
Except for in
Every-
case our own corruption is involved.
Everything is
Yeah.
public unless we decide it shouldn't be public, and then it's not public because we said it's not public in statute.
Unless it
Yeah.
incriminates us
And
or
of
makes us look
course-
bad.
And of course, if you guys don't know, most lawyers in most agencies are union members too. Like, they became unionized for some stupid fucking ass reason. Like, why would you do that to yourself? It's so retarded. Like, this is the thing. The thing I don't like about unions, it's a really long list. But one of the things I don't like unions is that it rewards bad behavior. You know, you look at people that are performing badly to make sure that they still have a job. Other than that, they don't really give much service to society. They really don't. Not anymore. Not anymore. They bring no service. And ever since Janice came into play, they for sure try really hard to be right. Right? And again, the only push they have is that, hey, we're gonna be able to fund your campaign, Waltz. So scratch your back, we scratch yours. And that's what this is about.
So, can like here's a question that I have. So campaign funds, that should all be public, right? So they can
Anyway.
definitely assess where these politicians' funds are coming from.
Yeah, it should be. I know that. I think Aspen Mate gave a lot of money to Waltz. To see how much money did unions give to Waltz. Oh my God. Okay, $3.83 million.
Yeah, imagine that.
And which, like I said, and,
This is the
and
DFL,
I guess,
the Democratic Labor Party.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
looking at these
Teachers-
unions, their demographic makeup of, you know, I mean,
Teachers are the worst.
should be
Especially here.
Look at this.
analyzed.
In the first 24 hours after Harris announced Waltz as her running mate, her campaign raised $33 million, with teachers being the top profession to donate. Yeah, and this is from the teachers union, right?
Yeah.
That's not even including the
They-
police union.
Yeah, this came with. Let me find some other ones. Oh my God, this is just. All right, I mean, unions, corporations are among the top Waltz donors. So labor unions, a tribal nation, and an education software company. Gee, I wonder why. Were among
Right.
the big donors to Governor Waltz's inauguration events, according to an initial look at financial ability. The committee charged with staging Waltz's inaugural celebrations raised $300,000 in December, according to filing in May with the IRS. Yeah, so I mean, if it is just mostly them
Kind of makes you wonder if that.
funding Waltz,
Kind of makes you wonder if that education software company was programming, or not programming rather, all of the software and apps and tablets that the Learning Center was using.
right?
I know,
like,
right?
So I'm a big proponent for education, except the education system has gone so far array that kids aren't learning how to write. Kids aren't learning the skills needed to be a productive member of society. They're getting inundated with all this stuff that doesn't matter. And the one thing that I can see that I've seen from Gen Z is they've had enough of it. They're asking questions like, what does this have to do with learning, math or English, what your pronouns are or whatever, like that. We don't care about this stuff. We don't need to know your pronouns. Teach us the math. So at least there's been some viral videos and stuff going around where at least they're fighting back or they're speaking up or saying something now, because like, yes, I mean, I pay taxes. Property taxes that go to a school district. I want these kids learning how to, be a benefit to, the city area and things like that they need to do. Math skills, English skills, history skills, to learn valuable things other than how to, not insult someone.
Yeah.
Because everybody's insulted by everything, or someone is insulted by everything, so you're never gonna win.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely will donate a lot of money. Some of it is behind paywall, so I can't really
Fair.
look through it very, very well. But there are some where you can look individual donors, but it's individual, it's not by corporation, I think.
And the other big thing about the whole education system fiasco and how it's gotten so big and bloated is the public school system was never supposed to be the everyone goes through the public school system. It was supposed to be the safety net. Yeah, no, it was supposed to be the safety net for anybody who couldn't get their kid into a private school or didn't have time to homeschool them. That was okay if the child isn't going to be educated through these other superior means, then we will put the child into the public education system, because the public education system is the lowest common denominator. It is the bottom. It is to keep them from falling through. It is the safety net.
And then they made it even worse when they instituted things like No Child Left Behind, where you had to bring everyone up, everyone to the same level, and you cannot bring someone up who one doesn't want to, or two just isn't capable, which just drags other people, just drags the top percent down.
Oh, you mean the No Child Let Ahead program?
Yeah.
And that's exactly. So I can speak a little bit of something into that aspect too. It's been a long time since I was in high school, but growing up in a very rural community with brothers and family that were gifted. Like I have a sibling who was extremely gifted in math, in the point where in elementary school they had to send him to junior high school classes because he was so far advanced. And then after a while it was there's no more math for him to take. What do we do with him? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at this, this is a page report, right? So they're saying they heard from many people, they have identified patterns of fraudulent behavior as as red flags. It really doesn't look good for Waltz anyway.
Well, he dropped out. His career was over anyway.
That is true. There is nothing that they could do at that point. Oh, look at that. They're even including the Dayton administration.
He dropped out. We can't prosecute him now.
Right? How about...
No, we pretty much can, apparently. Apparently all corruption can be done brazenly out in the open in Florida.
Did you see this? Look at this.
They have a scapegoat to resign because of it.
This is crazy. Look at this. Early in Walt's administration, the OLA released a report about fraud in childcare assistance program. We're going to be talking about the Learning Centers. Then OLA later wrote that former Speaker of the House, Melissa Portman, which can go fuck herself if you don't know her, she's an asshole, told him the House committee chairs have been instructed to give not to give OLA reports about fraud.
The Xenos infestation is stemmed.
how can someone just vote to say, hey, this is damning and we're not going to release it there? I mean, like, how does it happen? How does that kind of cover up happen?
I don't
House
know.
committee
but-
chairs, I mean, the people who, like I said, those are middle managers of government have just been said, oh, well, we're not going to do anything about it. So the question is how deep does this go?
Pretty damn deep.
Yeah.
Even the middle management is saying like, oh, this is we can't have this.
I mean, it's been exposed pretty badly now, and things are just kind of going along business as usual. I mean, everything's still corrupt. There's still a bunch of fucking spending measures trying to be rammed through for more learning centers, pretty much ostensibly.
Yep.
This is
They're
absolutely
trying to like
insane.
pass even more
Yep.
fucking taxes
This
and
is
shit
just
here, and
great.
so it's like, okay, I guess like, what am I supposed to do?
So, oh my gosh.
Yep. We found all this
mean-
corruption, and Tim Walz is retiring. We're not going to stop any of the corruption.
No,
But Tim Walz is going to
it's
resign
okay.
and
It's
retire.
business as
over
usual.
it.
Everything was corrupt before, so
The complicit
Yeah, everything was
acceptance
before.
of fraud by Democratic leaders allowed a culture of fraud to take root in Minnesota. Like, and my question is why aren't the people doing anything?
well, what do you want us to do? Shoot him?
Look at this. Look at that
Not shoot 'em,
sentence
but-
in pink.
Well, okay,
Look
what
at
am I
We're
supposed to do?
democratic
That's
process.
sarcastic?
It's a democratic process.
And the
Don't
Democrats
vote for
apparently
it.
want there to be fraud. So, I mean,
Well,
Additionally, it has been widely reported, the vast majority of those indicted and convicted in the fraud schemes to date are from the Somali community.
oh, pirates, you say? Didn't know that.
yeah.
Landed
Are we
10,000
going
lakes.
full circle?
No, definitely not
We're going
pirates, you say.
full circle
Somalis give
here.
piracy a bad name.
Yeah, I suppose.
Well,
Circus
and then
says as a pirate himself.
yeah. Well, the other thing that I know I've seen reports on is that they're not even keeping the money; they're sending it back there.
Right, Knight. Yeah, Knight says, meanwhile in China, they laugh and look forward to buying American 10 years.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
There's
The
some other
level
crazy
of fraud
fucking corruption
is
going on.
just crazy. Yeah, the level of fraud that exists in this country is insane. And the fact that nobody wants to do anything about it.
No.
And then nobody's talking about it. I think the only reason why the Somali thing came into it came more into the public view was because one, they were Somalians, and then two, they were Somalians. You know?
which, yeah, and like, okay, I'll speak with this. You know, the state I live in is a swing state. It's definitely, you know, we all definitely have our issues. And the one thing that I get frustrated about is even in our, you know, not the big elections, the presidential elections, people don't turn out to vote, and then we put these people in office that don't have our best intentions because nobody shows up to vote because you know it's not a general thing.
That's the
I walk around work going,
demoralization
"Don't
plan
forget to
that
vote,
that
don't forget to
KGB
vote."
guy warned us about.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. I'm like, the school boards, you know, the state Supreme Court, things like that matter, affect your life a lot more than what the president does.
So I live in Wyoming. The only time we've ever been called a swing state is when we took a poll and everybody determined that yes, if Liz Cheney ever tries to come back, she will swing.
This
I
is
wish,
so
man.
bad. To date, look at this. To date, federal prosecutors, not state prosecutors, federal prosecutors. This is how bad this is. They had to ask the federal government to step in. To date, federal prosecutors have charged more than 90 people with fraud-related crimes, with 65 convicted or pleading guilty. And the federal government is saying there is much more that they have to prosecute.
Good, and then
My
move on to the
question-
next state.
My question is, like, why isn't the state doing anything? Hello,
Well-
MC Camp.
They've prosecuted 90 people, got 65 convicted, and haven't changed any of the policies.
Right.
I know, right? Because it's the state. because
Yep.
the state doesn't want to change it because the state is making a lot of money. Like it's just baffling to me that what's it called? What's her name? Elon Omar went from having no money to suddenly being a millionaire and nobody
Yeah,
cares
so
about
And then
it.
she went right back to having no money as
Dude.
soon as somebody pointed that out. And
Right.
like, you're gonna have to pay tax. Oh, that was an accounting error. I
Is she the
only-
one
Yeah,
that had the winery
accounting
that sold
error.
no wine?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's
And then look
interesting.
at this.
With leering centers
Look
that
at
have
this.
no children, huh?
And look at what this article says.
It's a
Democrats
strange,
on the
strange
committee
coincidence that they're so similar.
blocked the subpoena to Ilhan Omar over her alleged ties to the convicted fraudsters. Like, what do you have to hide that you're blocking a subpoena to figure out what ties she has to all these people that are ripping citizens? She shouldn't even be here. Can she please get deported? I don't understand why she's still not deported.
Reasons?
That's not good enough. She
Because
needs to
that
be
would be
deported.
racist. We can't
Guys?
deport her.
Don't care.
I'm not
I
sure.
don't
I'm not
care.
sure how she has such
Magazine.
form here.
I don't know, but I don't
you
care.
can still
I don't care
kick
what
a citizen out.
I don't care what
That was
color,
a
race,
dangerous
religion you
precedent.
are. If you're a criminal, if you're doing something wrong, deal with the consequences of it.
All right, let's look
Yeah.
to see how she got citizen. Cause I cannot believe she's a
It's like-
citizen.
It's
Hold
particularly
on.
because these people aren't particularly bright, and all of this shit is brazenly out in the open. Like, oh, but you don't have anything admissible in a court.
Oh my god.
Well, okay, it's a good
dude.
thing that the rules are set up to fuck over the people.
No.
So glad that the government works for the people, by the people.
She's not a U.S. born citizen.
Nope. She is
Okay.
natural.
I don't know. Man.
She became a citizen because her father got naturalized in 2000. So she's not even a citizen. She became a citizen through derivative citizenship based on her father. So
How
she's
old
not
was she?
American
That sounds
born.
like a scam.
How old was she in 2000? Is my question.
17.
Okay, so not quite a legal
She was
adult.
under 18, so
So she
when
got
her parents got naturalized, she got grand. Well, not-
okay. Now that's fair. Like I said, if your parents get naturalized, the children, you know, I get they're umbrellaed under it. So
Yeah, but the thing is, if you're a naturalized citizen, you don't have the same rights as a natural born citizen because you're naturalized. So she can still be kicked out. So I don't think that would set a bad precedent. I mean, it is much harder to deport a naturalized citizen, but it has happened, right? Because there are certain acts of moral
Yes.
turpitude that
Much
will
like
fucking
this.
kick somebody out.
Basically
Like this.
setting up a pirate
so
court
here's
in America.
Are you sure though? Are you sure you know about this study? I'm just wondering, how would you possibly know anything about naturalized citizenship?
yeah.
Because I've done immigration. I've done immigration law.
So Sevi,
You're also a
can I-
naturalized citizen, aren't you?
right?
You're also.
So
I've
you know,
done immigration law. I've done immigration, labor, employment, and corporate law.
You've also
I
gone
of
through
did
it
immigration
personally.
law. I did immigration law for like 3 years,
so part of the immigration or the
and this
citizenship
came up
process.
a lot.
Part of the
This came up a lot.
part of the citizenship process and stuff is too you know, denouncing ties to, you know, where you came from, your previous country, taking the do they still do there's a citizenship creed or an American creed that they're supposed to recite and follow and adopt to. There's things like
I
that.
think there's some oaths
There's
that they do.
there's oaths and stuff like that. Hold them to it. I mean, it's supposed to be a legally binding oath, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
How?
Like you said, consequences. I mean, if you can prove things, I mean, revoke
Yeah.
their citizenship. I mean, you take an oath of office just like anything else, and you violate that oath of office, or in a medical field, if you violate, you know, there's a
Hippocratic
Hippocratic
oath,
oath and things like that. I mean, there's certain oaths that have consequences when you break them. Why should this be any different?
More of the skittering vermin.
And
So
start
this is
prosecuting
what-
and, you know,
Yeah.
taking
So
that.
this is
serious.
from the USCIS website. So grounds for revocation of naturalization, right? So a person procures naturalization illegally, which is not her case because her father sounds like he was naturalized legally.
What about her brother?
Concealment of her brother, I think, would have grounds to be deported.
I'm sorry. No, not
because they
brother.
got-
Ex-husband. Sorry,
Ex-husband.
it was ex-husband. Sorry.
Same guy.
Ex-husband.
Yeah, I think
Which is
that
just
would
another
be
Allegedly. Allegedly.
yeah, allegedly. I think that would be another ground for her brother / husband to be deported, right?
And
Concealment of-
her. She was a willing accomplice.
Yeah. Concealment of material fact or willful representation. This is from the USCIS of website Policy Manual, Volume 12, Part 1, Chapter 2, as you can see. Policy Manual, Volume 12, Part 1, Chapter 2. Okay. You can find it. Googleable information, folks. In general, a person is subject to revocation of naturalization on this basis if the naturalized U.S. citizen misrepresented or concealed some fact, the misrepresentation or concealment was willful, the misrepresented or concealed facts or facts were material, and the naturalized U.S. citizen procured citizenship as a result of the misrepresentation or concealment. This is the thing. Like, when I was doing immigration law, I had to represent a lot of people that admitted to having a DUI, driving under the influence of alcohol, or a drug-related crime, and that by itself became a reason for deportation, even if they were a naturalized citizen. So I had to deal with a lot of those folks. So I know that a crime of moral turpitude, which is driving under the influence or being caught with pot, in your pocket, would get you deported. Because I had to deal with that, so because of that, I know those crimes do, and I looked at the statute. It says crime of moral turpitude. Crime of moral turpitude also includes fraud, right? So this checks out, right? Membership or affiliation with certain organizations. This is more for Communist Party, other totalitarian party, or other terrorist organization.
Wait. You can have your citizenship revoked if you're part of the Communist Party.
Yeah,
That'd
is
be
she
cool.
part of the Communist Party?
Well, I don't
Hello,
care.
Matt.
Like, not just her, but like anybody who claims to be a communist, let's revoke their citizenship then.
With the commies.
Yeah. Yeah, it says
I mean-
if they are affiliated or becomes a member within 5 years of his or her naturalization.
Oh.
5 years. Yeah.
Okay.
And then other than honorable discharge before 5 years of honorable service. So again, like, I just go back to like, why is she still here?
So, this is an
Idea.
anecdotal story, and it has nothing to do with citizenship. But I remember, 2020 time, people losing their visas because they just weren't renewing them. I'm talking, taxpayers, good citizens, parents, children, having to leave and go back, and spending a lot of money to find any way to stay because they just wanted to stay and be American. I mean, they did everything right, and they had to leave because there are no exceptions. And I just remember several cases of good people having to go back, and then you have to wait 7 years because your visa got revoked.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I mean,
we have people that are lying and coming here, or illegally over the border, overstaying visas and all this other stuff, and yet all these good people who are trying to do the right thing were forced to leave, and it makes me angry.
yeah, it definitely does. And like, it's not right to me personally. Like, it doesn't seem right that they're doing that and just engaging in such blatant fraud and nothing is being done. But I don't think anything is gonna happen. Matt says, why am I not surprised? Per Fight Night says, deport Sevi. No, I mean, listen to Sevi and deport that silly woman. And Saw says, deport her butt.
Why not both? Wait, what?
Oh my gosh.
No, you could stay, Sevi. You still have my whiskey.
I think if we tried
Oh
to
my
deport
gosh.
Sevi, the nation of Colombia would take it as an act of war.
Ooh.
Oh my God,
I'll have to
that
go
is
back and
crazy.
read that clause in the Geneva Convention.
Wow.
Makes sense,
That
though.
is
Or
crazy.